Okay, so continuing. So we'll continue in the Sefer. So again, last week we were going to skip the rest of the Hagdama. Last week the original Hagdama that we got through the parts that I think to get to. The rest of the come on in. Yeah, the rest of the Hagdama. Like I said last week, the Hagdama is extremely important, but we got through the important parts. I wanted to get through the rest of it is more just like his michtav bracha, that I'm not worthy, this and that, why I am worthy, okay, fine, which is all good stuff to do, but for the purpose of this chabur, I don't know if it's so shayach. So we're going to continue now into the Pirkei Psicha. So now, this is past the Hagdama. Now we're past the Hagdama, but now we're getting started, so if you haven't been here till now, this is perfect, because we haven't really started anything. We just did the Hagdama before, the Hagdama just of Rav Shimshon. Now we're actually going to the Pirkei Psicha. So the Hagdama, basically, the introduction, the opening introduction to Tefillah as a whole. So again, I know we haven't had what's his name come yet, Michael Rose. We'll get him to bring this for. So either way, don't worry about it. It works. Pirkei Psicha Yesod Hatzlacha ve'Amud Avoda uLedaz she'Tefillah Mini Yesoda she'Kol Omer Aleim. From the very outset, Rav Shimshon says, what's the Yesod of Hatzlacha that a person needs to have in order to find success in Tefillah? He has to recognize and he has to know that Tefillah is from the Yesodos that everything in the world relies on. Kimo shelimud Torah, hu amud ha'olam she'akol omer alav. Right, we know that just like limud Torah is one of the three pillars that the world stands on. Kimo kein Tefillah, he amud binyan ha'adam ve'olam. Tefillah is the binyan not just of Adam, of ourselves, but the entire world as a whole. Tefillah is a foundation. The aver shedeshama tuliyabah. Tefillah is like the aver, it's like the limb, so to speak, that the neshama is taloy on. Tefillah is the base, it's the root, it's the foundation for a person's soul, body, as well as the entire world. Hein ma'arachas avodas Hashem. Ve'hein ba'atzlachas ha'adam b'chol inyan chayv. And I said this a little bit in my own akdama, that we said before that Tefillah is what defines your entire avodas Hashem. Tefillah is what defines your hatzlacha in all the yanim of your everyday life. Ha-ruchanim v'agashmiyim. But whether it's ruchnius, whether it's gashmius. Ha-kol over derech avodas tefillah. Every single thing passes through and is completely dependent on how you daven. Your avodah of tefillah. Tefillah is a serious thing. The efshar lahastig et sarchin b'chaim biladeh. And it's impossible for us to achieve any sort of success in life in anything, whether ruchnius or gashmius, without tefillah. Now again, you might be thinking, just with this me talking from the outside, but you might be thinking again before we haven't really said anything. But now what he's doing right now is giving an akdama to just tefillah as a whole, because he's saying what he's mentioning, he's making it known here is that the yesod, the number one thing that again, why do we also struggle so much with tefillah growing up and even in our adult stages right now? Why is it so hard? It's because we just don't understand. We don't understand that not only do we spoke about at length the previous couple of shiurim that we don't know how to daven. We already know that. But he's adding on a step to that. Not only do we not know how to daven, we don't even know what davening is. We just don't know it. We don't view it as something that's so essential to our lives. We view it as, again, God is an ATM. We need parnasa, we say Baruch Aleinu. We need refuah, we say Rifa'enu. Okay, Baruch Hashem. He's explaining to us here. He says, no. He says, tefillah is literally, your entire life depends on it. Every single aspect of your life. Like, literally the fact that you're physically alive depends on tefillah. And we have to see what that means. But the point is, Rav Shimshon is trying to give us an overarching recognition. Step number one to avodas tefillah is to understand what you're actually doing when you're davening. It's not just simply, God is not just an ATM. When you need something, you don't just ask. That's not what you're just doing during tefillah. That's part of it. It's part of it, but it's not all of tefillah. Amr Chazal, Gemara says, I need the daf ayin. Ma yase adam v'chakim v'yashir. Right? It says the Gemara is a famous Gemara. It says they asked. It doesn't say it here, but I think it was Rav Ari Shiur. Someone correct me. I think they asked Rav Ari Shiur. They said, what should a person do to gain chachma? Chachma satorah. If they want to be a talmid chacham, what should they do if they want to become wealthy? Okay, good questions. V'hela banim zacharim. And if you want to have sons, what should you do? Okay, good questions. Everybody wants to know the answer to this. What does he respond? Yevakish rachem mimi. What's his answer? His answer is, you should ask for rachamim from the one who owns chachma, the one who owns wealth, the one who owns children. Without that, you got nothing. Zero. If you don't ask the one who's got the money to give you, you're not going to get it. If you don't ask the one who's got the kids to give you, you're not going to get it. If you don't ask the one who has the chachma to give you, how do you think you're going to tap into that? The kol shekin, the Sarah, And all the more so, in an Eisara, in a time of tsar, in a time of need, in a time of pain, in a time of suffering, whatever it is, we need to grab on to the avodah of what we see in the Torah. What did our avos do every single time? Every single time there's any sort of tsara, what do? They cried out to Hashem. That even when it's not an Eisara, our tefillahs save us from future Eisaras, from future suffering. Without tefillah, without our tefillah, is that the words of tefillah we say? There would be no such thing as humans. There would be no survival. There would be no life. Without tefillah, tefillah is the foundation and ikr. And again, and realize the fact that all of us are here again. We have success. We're all alive. And you're saying, yeah, but I don't connect to davening. Like kol shekain, you should recognize that if you're like, yeah, but I just show up to davening, during Baruch Hu, say the words and go out, and I'm doing fine. Yeah. That's how powerful just the words of tefillah are. That you are fine. Now imagine if you actually took that and actually did something with it. Right? It's amazing. V'zeh loshen Rabbeinu Ramcha b'derech Hashem. In famous sefer Derech Hashem. Inin ha-tefillah hu, ki min ha-sedarim she'sidra ha-chochma al-yoina. Hu she'liyos ha-nevroi mekablim shefel mimenu yizbarach. Tzar she's oru, em elav yizkarvu lo v'yivakshu ponav. Derech Hashem is all about, if anybody's ever learned Derech Hashem, Derech Hashem is the root, it's the source. This is not the source, but it's the Ramchal's masterful work where he broke down basically all the seder of Kabbalah and everything, how Hashem runs the world, how Hashem gives us everything. The Ramchal explains that the way Hashem actually created the system, Hashem created a system. There's a system in place, Kiviyachol. And the way Hashem created the system is that in order for us to receive the shefa is the bracha, it's the tzlacha, it's whatever, the shefa, the flow of bracha from Shemayim, in order for us to receive any of the shefa from God, she's oru hem elav. Right? The reason Hashem created the world in a way, Hashem created this whole system in a way that if we want something, we have to come to Him and ask Him. Even though He knows. That's the way it is. That's the way Hashem created it. In His Chachma Yoina. And based on how close a person brings himself to Hashem, based on if a person actually awakens himself to come speak to Hashem and ask for things, that's going to be the amount of shefa he receives. V'im lo yisaru, lo yimshach lem. And if they're not misorei rachamim, if they don't do this, if they don't come close to Hashem, they don't try to elicit this from Hashem, they're not going to get it. This is Ramchal says, Pashup Pshat. Again, we're going to tap into all this. We're going to go deeper into this, but Pashup Pshat, he says, this is the way Hashem created the world. We say, oh yeah, but what happens if I don't jump davening one day? Okay, nice, but you're just going to miss out. Oh yeah, but I can get it from elsewhere. Fine, you can get other things elsewhere, but whatever you were going to get during that davening today, whatever you wanted to get, you're not going to get it because you didn't daven. There's ultimately, every time we don't daven, every time we miss out on lack of davening, we're just missing out. We're missing out on things we could, because that's how it was Masada the Olam. That's how Hashem was Masada the world. Bir Hadavar explains this. Shtei derachim yesh b'yesod tefillah lahasagas ma'ana mira shemayim. There's two derachim. There's two ways to approach tefillah in order for us to elicit an answer from shemayim. Reishis, number one. What's the number one way? This is the key to everything. I mean, this is pretty nice. If we could imagine if we actually have a key, we have understanding. How we can get Hashem to answer us. It sounds pretty good. We can get a lot of pretty good things in this world. Life could become pretty nice. This is the ikr. So Reishis, number one, ma sheragil b'habdisenu, kasher tzarech adam le'eze inyan. We have to understand that whenever we need anything, aval mikoach ma'isa u'zechoyosaf eno zakai lekach. Al yedei tefillah shapir yuchal lahapik ratzon me'Hashem u'lahasig bevaksha. This is the yisod, fundamental. One of the yisod of tefillah. This is derech number one. Is supposed to understand why is tefillah so important, because of the fact that, let's be real, from our koach ma'asav, we're not zochet to anything. We all know. Everybody knows that lashon hara is connected murder, right? Okay, so what are we doing here? we should be pretty dead right now. What are we even doing? We know as a fact that our actions are not worthy of any of the bracha we have, any of the atzlacha we have. But Hashem says what? Through tefillah, it doesn't matter. If you want to receive, it's notwithstanding any of your other things. Tefillah itself is the chutz of itself. This is a yesod that we're not actually worthy of anything. But Hashem gives us a special gift called tefillah. Gives us an opportunity to be able to elicit things from Him, even though we don't deserve them at all. Not even in the slightest. That's number one. Number two, aval yesh b'tefillah yesod nosaf. There's another inyan of tefillah. V'hu ma'asher ragio b'sefer hakadmonim. She'atefillah hi ashar ve'adeles le'otzos shamayim. And this is what we know from this early Sfarim, that tefillah is the entranceway. It's the shar, the deles, the door, la'otzor shamayim, to the treasure houses of Shemayim. Tefillah is the shar. It's mamish, the doorway. This is the doorway. Perush hadavar. What does this mean? The gamim zakaya adam ayde ma'isa odar chechaso. Even if a person is zocha, even if you did, you are zocha. You do good things, and whatever it is, because of some action you did, in theory you are zocha to some sort of bracha. Yizbarach le'ezo bracha Yeshua. Ve'atova hu omed muchan b'shvilo. This is tremendous. Listen up. Trust. This is one of the biggest yisodos of tefillah. This is one of the biggest yisodos of avodas Hashem. This is absolutely game changing right now when you understand this concept. Ve'atova hu omed muchan b'shvilo. And let's say a person actually does. Let's say you hit a threshold today. You push yourself extra in theory, and you actually learned a certain amount, and you were zocheh to some sort of thing. Al yidei ma'asav. Lo yavo lo atov ahu ela al yedei tefillah. That bracha which you unlocked, you hit the threshold, you've reached it, you've deserved it, you've earned it, will not come to you except by way of tefillah. Shekachu inin tefillah. She ashar shakol over darko. We just said tefillah is the shar. Just like when, in order to go into somewhere, you have to go through the gate. If you want to leave also, you also have to go through the gate. Tefillah is the shar. It says that ububli sheyavor derech shar tefillah lo yatsa shum davar lapoel. That if you don't, and that if you, even if you're zocheh to something, you can't bring anything into this world without tefillah. There is no bracha that comes to this world not by derech tefillah. And listen to what he says. V'lamdu b'alei avoda yisod zeh in Parshas Bereishis. It's very famous. We learn this yisod in the Torah. Parshas Bereishis. Dichtiv. V'chol siach hasadeh ter miyeh v'aretz. V'chol esav hasadeh ter miyitzmach. Kilo im tir Hashem l'kim ha'aretz adam ayin la'avodas adama. What does the pasuk say? The pasuk says, again, this is very famous and very obvious questions, that v'chol siach hasadeh, all like the vegetables, all the field, all the plants, vegetation, thank you, all the vegetation, right? Ter miyeh v'aretz. Right? Before they actually, when they were put on earth, but so Hashem put them there. I think it was on Yom Shlishi. It says that Hashem put them in the earth, but they didn't sprout. Why? Because it says it explicitly in the pasuk. Kilo im tira Hashem elokim ha'aretz. Because Hashem didn't bring rain to the land so it could sprout. So the vegetation was there, it was just sitting under the ground. The Adam ayin lavodas adama, because Adam was not there to work the land. What does this mean? Umefarish Rashi, it's a very famous Rashi. That when Hashem finished the Brias Olam, but before He created Adam, that before Adam was created, nothing actually sprouted. Right? We spoke about that the vegetation was created already, but it didn't break ground. It was still under the ground. Lo Yatsu, didn't it come out? Right? Because it says in Yom Shlishi, it seems to be say that it came out. It seems to say that there was, that Hashem created, Hashem brought forth the vegetation. So why are we saying all of a sudden on Yom Shishi that it didn't come out yet? It didn't sprout yet. What does that mean? Ela a Pesach hakarka amdu ad Yom Shishi velama. So basically, what we're saying is, and Rashi explains, that Hashem created the vegetation on Yom Shlishi, but it stayed under the ground until Yom Shishi. Why? Ki lo himtir, because there's no rain. Uma tam lo himtir, and what's the reason there was no rain? Lafi she'adam ayin lavodas adama. Because there was no man to be on the land, to be in the land, and to be makir tov for the rain. Because the point is, what's he saying? He's saying something unbelievable. This is foundational. Because the point was, until we just said a rule that nothing passes into this world without the shar tefillah. So why was there no rain that came to the world until Adam Arisha came to the world? There was no one to daven for it. So therefore, the plants only sprouted once Adam Arisha came to the world and recognized that rain is a good thing and davened to Hashem for rain. Right? Right? And the Gemara over there also says that this shows that Hashem desires the tefillahs of the tzaddikim. So what do we see? We find here this yesod bechol hametzias. That nothing comes to this world. There is zero that passes into this world without tefillah. This rule is not just like a nice idea around the Gemara. This is ingrained into the foundation of the world from Yom Shishi and Ma'aseh Bereishis. It's where the way Hashem created the world. Hashem created this principle in the world. We see it explicitly in the pasuk. Sheyamur akol al pesach hakarka, that everything stayed right under the ground. V'lo yinatan klum, and it didn't sprout at all. Lo hiseg begashmius, lo hiseg beruchnius. No spiritual growth, no physical growth. Ad sheyavaya adam v'yatzeya mi pesach hakarka de tefillah, until Adam Rishon came and davened for it. Shemikol makom tzarich hakol la'avor derech shar tefillah. Everything needs to pass through shar tefillah. Ve'im lo yiftechu hasharim lo yoim ashet dvarim mecharim u'yadim lanu. Ve'lochen atefillah sheyi sharish mishmayim hiya me'akeves l'chol habracha v'tova. So what are we saying? We're saying something unbelievable. We're saying that we have to recognize right now that even if a person, I'm saying this again for the third, fourth time because I'm ingrained to your head. If you haven't listened yet, just listen. It's wild. When you think about this, it's unbelievable. Your davening changes when you ingrain yourself with this. That's why he's giving this. That's why he's saying this. He says this is the hakdama to everything. This is the yesod of tefillas. Is that even if you sit there, right, and you wake up in the morning, like you have a huge day today, a huge business meeting. You're thinking, I'm ready to go, and whatnot, and you think, let me just go run to shul, throw my tefillin, run out as fast as I can. I got to get there in time for the meeting, whatever it is. You might succeed. It's possible. Maybe you will. But the point is, without tefillah, if you don't have anything, that deal is not going to be blessed. The deal is not going to have bracha. The only way to elicit bracha from Shemayim is through tefillah. Any sort of bracha. Again, that's part of the way Hashem also works together. He didn't say this in here, but it's part of the separate thing. Again, and I think it says in Chovos Levavos also that in theory in this world, if you put your bitachon into somebody else, into a person, then it's not like you're not gonna be able to succeed. But the point is, Hashem says, oh, fine, you want to trust your boss to give you the money? Okay, fine. I'm gonna remove myself from the picture and I'll leave it up to him. I'll actually give your boss the free will. I'll give him the free koach to decide if he wants to sustain you or not. So therefore, if he decides to pay you $1 million, very nice, beautiful, shkoyach, have a nice day. But if he doesn't, don't come crying to me. I gave him the opportunity. That's what it says in Chovos Levavos. It's crazy, right? So the point is, though, again, the same thing with tefillah. If we want the bracha, if we want our day, our lives to be blessed, we want to unlock and start off. This is why we start off our day with the davening. This is why the halachos are so strict. Don't do anything. Don't do anything before you. Don't eat. Some say don't even do the laundry. Don't do anything before you daven, because by davening, once it's literally you're being mekadesh everything for the entire day. Every single thing you do in your day now is now filled with bracha. Before you daven, it's not. When you go and you declare the praise of Him, you open the Sha'arei Shemayim, everything just rains down on you. It's all pure bracha for the entire day. That's the koach of tefillah. That's the koach of what we're saying. That's the power that a person needs to recognize. And if we really want to grow in our avodas tefillah, if we really want to start to grow, these are the concepts that we need to understand and we need to ingrain, we need to realize. That even when you're just reading the words, just by reading the words, and again, we're going to learn more about A, the koach about reading the words, B, again, how to focus. We're going to talk about all this stuff. But the yesod is that you can start practicing tonight, during Mariv, or tomorrow during Shacharis, is just take a deep breath, take a second, during Shemona Esrei, take 10 seconds just to contemplate for a second and be like, whoa, like this bracha right now of Barech Aleinu, like do I want to find success today, or for you, maybe you guys aren't working, but I mean still, either way, still doing, but like Atachonen, for example, right? Like you guys are thinking, we're all struggling, some of us are doing Shnai Machazon right now. It's not easy. No, it's not easy. There's Shnai Machazon right now, right? Or there's Shnai Machazon right now, right? And that's a hard parak. It's hard learning. We're struggling. So the point is, take 10 seconds during Atachonen and think about it and be like, wait a minute. If I want Hashem's bracha here, if I want my Limud Torah to actually be blessed, if I actually want Hashem's help, let me just say this bracha, which is a little more kavanah than I usually do. Let me actually think about this. Like, wait a minute. The only way for me to actually unlock that chachma is by davening with kavanah. Is actually saying it. All of a sudden, you just remember that concept, and you'll say Atachonen a little bit slower. You'll say the words a little bit slower. You'll say a little bit more emotion. When you just kind of just run through it. When you actually realize that all of your success depends on what you can elicit from the Sha'arim Betfilah. Shkoyach.